Alright, we're doing the Star and Savior thing again. I know we already did this once, but this time, it's the last time. No, it hasn't. There's still people inside the castle. It's important. Ah yes, Altia Castle, where Marth was born and raised. He didn't actually spend most of his days in the palace, though. He did go to Talus. Yep, it's been a long time coming. Ah, the nostalgia of it all. Oh no, is this a check? Oh, what the fuck, Jagan? We have this big moment where it's like, oh hey, we're back in Altia Castle after so long, and you just have to go and ruin it by being like,
Iris, you suck. I'm Jacob. This is what I sound like.
how is everyone? But also, like, come on. I don't know how to do well at that check. I think it's just like general growth, so I don't know how your stats have to grow to do well at that. I'll check it later. Pure Sword. And what Cord get? Oh, he got Ember. That's a crappy Fire Tome. It might have decent crit, though. I forget which joke weapons are the ones with the good crit, which ones are the one with the bad crit. Or that are just bad in general. Anyway, here's Sirius. I mean, I think we've all figured it out. Anyway, though, yeah, I went to the, game script, and the only description it gave me of that check is, let's see, hold on a sec. If Chris is very strong, if Chris is decent, or if Chris is poor. So, yeah. I have no idea what that means, because I'm pretty sure we've already had a strength check, so, like, it must just be general stats. Now, granted, you actually do have to be up to level 5 with your avatar by the end of this chapter in order to unlock the next Gaiden chapter. However, I have been at level 5 at that point before, and Jagan's still been like, oh yo, fuck you. You suck, actually. Anyway, though, yes, Astram is on the battlefield again. This time, though, he's not pursuing us, and because he's bored on guard duty, we might be able to talk to him this time around. However, George is the only person who can talk to him, so guess we gotta lug him along this time around. Also, of course, if George is dead, well, you have to kill Astram too. 'Cause he sure as shit ain't listening to Marth, that's for sure. Oh, incredibly, Iris. Leave this to me. He'll probably just do his usual heads will roll thing. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Well, Marth, about that. They have stolen the Geosphere. There is a thief to the south, and he has the Geosphere, which, by the way, is... well, I want to say it's the last missable, important thing in the game. It's not, but it's the last one that's relatively easy to miss. Anyway, here's Macelon. We got Dolph already, and just like with Dolph, Macelon wasn't available in the original. But he is now. Let's see how he is. Oh, right, cutscene. We'll see how he is in a moment. So, this is the boss of the chapter, Willow. Now, just like in the Shadow Dragon version of this chapter, the door on this map starts locked. And once somebody opens one of the chests, be it enemy or ally, they will open the door and will start rushing us. That being said, though, Willow, there's a pretty big flaw in your plan, which we are absolutely going to exploit. But first, let's talk about Macelon. Hey, so, you know how Dolph was pretty alright and I said he was a pretty solid unit? Well, guess what? Macelon's way better. See, Dolph had a B in lances and a D in bows, which isn't bad. Macelon's got a B in both. Not only that, if you compare Dolph and Macelon, Macelon's growth rates are way better. The only exception is that Macelon's got lower skill, which does matter to a certain extent, though Macelon's skill is only 10% lower than Dolph's skill growth rate. So unless you get super unlucky, Macelon's gonna turn out better. Like, I'd say that Macelon has worse base stats, and technically speaking he does, but like, keep in mind he also starts 4 levels lower than Dolph, meaning that because of Macelon's 100% growth rate in HP, he will surpass Dolph in HP by the time he reaches Dolph's level. And while Dolph has a very high chance of gaining HP, Macelon's just got a guarantee. So yeah, he's bigger, he's faster, he's stronger too, and you only have to wait 1 chapter to get him, so like, if you're not using Horus, guess what? Macelon just waltzed in and is now way better than Dolph. Okay, so, this chapter is a little bit more interesting than the Shadow Dragon version. Shadow Dragon wasn't really that remarkable, other than a whole lot of Monokets being on the map, by which I mean, like, 2 and the boss. And I mean, in fairness, the boss of that chapter did kill Marth's mother, which is, like, the smallest plot point in how it's executed. Poor Lisa. She's mentioned once and never seen ever. Anyway, though, by the way, Lunatic version of the map is actually not really tricky, but it does add a pretty rude little gimmick. Know how the thief is at the bottom? There's actually a second thief that appears in front of him. And of course, that's right in front of a choke point. So, like, they added a thief just to guard the thief with a Geosphere. So yeah, either cut that guy off at the north, or just kill him like this. And we get the Geosphere, which is actually different than it was in Shadow Dragon. It was basically just an item that attacked all enemies in Shadow Dragon, however it could break with too much use. In this game, it just increases the critical rate of surrounding units. So, let's recruit Astram. Now, originally, and in most cases, my strategy is to just let Astram come to me and try to tank his shot. But for some reason, and I don't remember exactly what was killing me, it might have been Astram itself, but I just had no fucking luck. So I decided to use the Warp Staff instead. Of course, this does put me at a bit of a risk because there are a lot of enemies here, and I'm not quite as close to George and Astram as I'd like to be, but I think I'll manage. You haven't seen the princess in some time. Quick question, Astram, have you seen Hardin? 'Cause last time I saw him, he was an actual literal demon, and hey, you probably saw him at that point too, right? And like, you trusted him? You know, you tried to chase us at the bridge, and when we got away, you met with Hardin, and you were like, hey, I'm gonna go chase them, and you didn't notice that Hardin looked like a demon? 'Cause, I mean, like, it's kinda hard to miss. Just saying, it's kinda dumb that everyone keeps missing this. Come, Astram, please actually look at Hardin. Pay attention for once in your life, you stupid fuck. Here it comes. Should I learn that this war is a product of Mars' ambition, as Emperor Hardin claims? Heads will roll! Laugh track. Alright, let's talk about Astram after we shoot this man. Okay, let's go. So, Astram has been a terrifying force to be reckoned with for at least a little while, but now he's finally joined us, and he's okay. That A rank in swords isn't nearly as impressive as it would be had Astram joined us earlier on in the game, because at this point, while Mercurius is a good sword, you probably have someone else who can use it as well. Astram's strongest point is probably his base stats. They're mostly pretty good, with the exception of his luck, which will grow at least fairly well, but otherwise starts way too low to ever really be amazing, so get ready to get crit. He's also relatively slow. I mean, 40% isn't the worst, and 16 speed is at least a decent start, but at the same time, if you get unlucky, Astram might not be ideal speed-wise, and he doesn't exactly have anything to back it up. His HP is pretty good, but his defense growth isn't great, and his strength growth rate's alright, but again, if you get unlucky, he's not going to be all that strong. That's probably a good summary of Astram. He's got good enough base stats where, if you get lucky, he'll end up being a pretty solid unit. If you don't get lucky, he doesn't really have any particular strengths to play up to really help him out of any sort of pit he might end up in. Thankfully, though, you probably have a sword-wielding unit you can use instead of Astram, so you don't even have to worry about the risk in the first place. Though I shouldn't insult Astram too much, otherwise, heads will roll. So, yeah, I'll use Mercurius eventually, just not now. So, anyway, at this point, provided you can kill the thieves early enough, I wouldn't say the rest of the chapter is cake, but it's not too bad. And Cecil is going to be my Cain equivalent. Of course, to be fair, Cain really proved himself in the Shadow Dragon version of this map. That is the reason I love Cain, because I had 2 separate playthroughs in which I just had him decimate a whole lot of enemies in the treasury. Oh god, good times. Kinda miss him. I do like Cain, but the thing is, I do like Cecil a lot more, so obviously I'm using her. Anyway, yeah, that guy tried to get a crit off on me, and would have been a pretty good idea, except George could tank it, and nobody else is going to attack George. Not even those thieves. That one's just gonna stand there like an idiot and wait for death. He's like, oh, well, I want to get into the treasury. Pardon me, could you move? Because I'd really like to get in there. And I'm attacking with Linde first, but I'm sure Cecil is about to remove this man's... Oh, no. Oh, yeah, of course it would be Iris. Because, like I said, she really needs to get 2 more levels at this point. And damn, that was actually a good level. Why couldn't you have gotten more of those, Iris? Jeez. Alright, so in order to get to the next Gaiden chapter, you need to beat this chapter in 18 turns on normal. So yeah, it can actually be kinda difficult. This isn't the longest chapter, but at the same time, especially if you're like me and you want to group everyone up, it's gonna take a little bit. That being said, most of this is going to be set up at this point because I've killed most of the enemies, and I'm just going to be waiting on Julian to open some chests, so now we play the waiting game. Alright, the waiting game sucks, let's play Hungry Hungry Hippos. So, I gave Mesalon the Geosphere because he's not really going to be that helpful anyway, so I figured he could at least provide maybe a few crits. Anyway, I like how he thinks he's gotten a pretty good strategy here, but then the door opens and it's one of those you came to the wrong neighborhood moments. So anyway, actually I don't know if these guys move immediately, just because I don't know technically when that cutscene activates during the enemy turn. If it's at the beginning of the enemy turn, then... Actually no, like, if the cutscene would cause them to move at the beginning if the cutscene were at the beginning, even on normal mode. So as far as I know, I think I don't think these enemies can actually, like, get the jump on you if you pile up like this. If you've actually played hard mode, feel free to correct me, but I can't quite tell just because all the other enemies were dead, but it does seem like, at the very least, that cutscene technically happens at the end, so you wouldn't get ambushed. Either way, though, this can actually be surprisingly difficult just because there are a lot of enemies here, and if you don't kill them all, you could be in a bit of trouble. Especially due to the fact that there are 3 long-range tome users, one of which is the boss, meaning he's actually half decent, and he's got Meteor, which actually kinda hurts. And keep in mind, you also have a new unit who doesn't have the best resistance, that of course being Mesalon, or Mesalan, however you pronounce that. Whatever. Anyway though, yeah, he's not exactly the hardiest when it comes to magic, which is why I kept him out of the general area of attack. I did keep him in the range of one swarm, just because I figured he could draw somebody, you know? Try to bait him out. Of course, Board is also a pretty good, lightning rod? Magic rod? Whatever. Either way, tome users like to try to attack Board, but it doesn't really work out too well for them. Does kind of work out well for them if they attack Mesalon, but by this point, there is no danger of that. I'm going to kill all these dudes on this turn, and Willow won't really be able to do enough damage to anybody to actually kill someone. And even if he does damage, I've got Rise here to heal everyone. It is not an issue. So, for the time being, Iris is going to confront all the reinforcements that just arrived, because again, she kinda needs levels. I have not been leveling her properly, and quite frankly, I'm fairly certain I do not pass this chapter in 18 turns or less. And believe me, this is like the worst chapter to not get a Gaiden chapter for. I do kind of wish, though, that I didn't have to kill enemies, because there's really not much to talk about. I mean, you know that Iris is going to be getting up to level 5. Because now everybody's just going to back off, so everyone attacks Iris next round, and then Iris is going to go kill the boss, and that's pretty much it. And quite frankly, Willow can toss as many meteors as he'd like. He's not going to kill anyone. Another rescue staff, that's good, so if you used up your rescue staff that you got from Yumina, now you got that, which is good, because honestly, it's a really useful staff. And believe it or not, the rescue staff does actually have even more uses at this point. I mean, it's always useful to be fair, but it has, like, a straight-up intended use, I guess. Ooh, we got another Elysian Whip. By the way, there are 3 of those in the game, which means you can promote most of your Pegasus Knights to Falcon Knights, barring 1, because there are 4 Pegasus Knights overall. Seda, Paula, Katria, and Est. Anyway, though, yeah, Willow's dead. I kinda like him. He's funny in that he's just really married to this plan where somebody opens a chest and then from there he somehow has the upper hand, but I quickly proved that no, that was a dumb plan. You just opened the door so we could all come in and simultaneously kick your asses in. Your collective asses. Okay, this is just me organizing, so skipping this. I know it wastes time, but like, I do like getting everyone into formation is the thing. Also, I talked over that, so I have to keep it. Oh darn. Alright, let's finish this chapter. Hey, it's me, Godo. I can't talk for long because it's really expensive to call you like this. Nah, just messing with you. She was taking a nap all along. So, yeah, anybody who's come up missing who also happens to be a cleric is kind of in danger of being kidnapped by Garneth. We don't know what he's going to do with them, but it can't be good. I mean, my first guess is Dark Ritual, and I mean, I don't know what it's for, but like, Dark Rituals never really turn out well. They've got like a 0% chance success rate. And yes, because Garneth's looking for bishops, Nina's also a healer, so I can't imagine she's in a good spot right now. Being captured by actual literal Demon Harden. So, yeah, we should help her. But first... Well, we heard her name. And we're getting the flashback. And we know there's a Gaiden chapter coming up. Next episode, it's time for a reunion.